What's going on, family? I'm just here to remind you that you can get yourself a copy of my new book, On the Shoulders of Giants, Volume 4, The Caribbean, by visiting my website, www.ontheshoulders1.com, and help support me as I continue on my mission to make sure that my people have our information, even though, there are many people trying to stop us from learning our history. But hey, we can teach ourselves, and one of the tools we can use is my new book, On the Shoulders of Giants, Volume 4, The Caribbean. Remember, visit my website, www.ontheshoulders1.com, to get your copy, and I appreciate your support. Taki's Rebellion, Part 2. The Rise of Opongo. May 25th, 1760, is the date that marks the beginning of the Western Revolt, a continuation of Taki's Rebellion. Before we dive into Opongo's role in one of the most significant slave rebellions in the Caribbean, let's explore some of Opongo's life and learn how he became a part of Taki's Rebellion. Opongo was a West African military leader. I do not have the information to confirm exactly where he is from in West Africa, but according to the diary of the English planter Thomas Thistlewood, Opongo was a prince in Guinea who paid homage to the king of Dahomey. According to the author Vincent Brown, Opongo was a Dahomey war chief. I can confirm that Opongo was born on the Gold Coast of Africa, and he had a complicated relationship with John Cope, the chief principal of Britain's Cape Coast Castle, located on Africa's Gold Coast. In the 1740s, Opongo was captured and became the property of Arthur Forrest, captain of the HMS Wager. After the capture of Opongo, Forrest changed Opongo's name to Wager after the ship he captained. Opongo was then shipped to the plantation of Arthur Forrest in Westmoreland Parish, Jamaica, where he lived and worked for 20 years until the start of Taki's Rebellion. After the death of Taki, the rebellion was able to continue because of leaders like Opongo, as well as the organization of the rebellion. Opongo played an integral part in the planning and fighting in Taki's rebellion, so his escaping capture and the death of Taki was critical in the continuance of the rebellion. On May 25th, 1760, Opongo and his fellow rebels signaled the start of the rebellion by shaving their heads, also the attack on the Maysmere estate in Westmoreland. Simon, a lieutenant in the rebellion, shot and killed John Smith, the managing attorney of the Maysmere estate. The Western Revolt was underway, led by Opongo. The rebels attacked the British when their naval escort was away from the island. Initially, the rebels faced a militia with fewer numbers than they would have if the British naval escort was present. Over the next 4 days, the rebels and the British fought back and forth, gaining and losing ground. May 29th, 1760 was a key victory for Opongo and his fellow rebels. The British militia attempted to attack a rebel camp, but the rebels gained an overwhelming victory over the British, resulting in the rebel army gaining more members willing to fight the British for an all-black Jamaica. The British were suffering humiliating losses to Opongo and his rebels, so the British decided to call for an enormous amount of reinforcements. Reinforcements from the British 74th Regiment, 3 Maroon regiments, and 3 militias were deployed against the rebels to storm their encampment. The British were able to successfully breach the encampment due to the extreme reinforcements they gained. The rebels and the British battled for over 2 hours before the rebels were defeated. The militia killed men, women, and children of the rebels, even throwing some of the rebels off of a cliff. Despite the defeat, Opongo and the remaining rebels continued to wage war against the British from June 5th to July 3rd, which marked the death of Opongo. He, like many other rebel leaders, were defeated by the British and eventually surrendered. Opongo eventually died in a cage after being captured. In total, over 400 rebels were killed during the rebellion, and 60 of the British militia were killed. Following the death of Opongo, several of the rebels were able to evade capture and hide in the mountains of Jamaica or escape the island completely. This was not the end of the rebellion, but it leads us to Simon, who became the leader of the rebellion and our subject for part 3. For more information, make sure you visit my website, www.ontheshoulders1.com. Make sure you support my book series, On the Shoulders of Giants, and make sure you get the copy of my new book, On the Shoulders of Giants, Volume 4, The Caribbean. You can support me on Patreon at patreon.com/OTSOG. Once again, I love y'all, and I see y'all for part 3.